But we are live. Welcome to the GenxCynics. I'm your host, Kalari Gaming Chick, along with my co-host.
Oh, look at Brandon was right on it.
Hey,
you got
Brandon!
here before we got here. How did you know?
Yes, welcome.
How did you know?
I put the word out.
Tell me your secrets.
You're a mess. Welcome to the chat, Brandon. I'm glad you're watching us from work. I hope you're staying safe. For any of our watchers out in Hurricane Alley, as I like to call it, because I used to live in Florida, please stay safe. We hope that you are somewhere where you have proper shelter and or supplies.
How long are you going to let me stay like this?
I didn't realize you were staying like that, dear.
No, I'm not going to.
Thank you. Welcome to the GenxCynics, y'all. We have a lot to talk about, and as the title has suggested, we're going to talk about diversity, especially in the MCU, because the last few days have been a bit disturbing in what people consider quality in entertainment, and we want to talk about our thoughts on some of the attitudes about the Marvel movies, especially since Phase 5 is coming out.
Yeah, and ignore all the static you see in the background here. That's just us reprogramming the Matrix.
Yeah. Don't worry. You'll enjoy it.
Don't worry about it.
Thank you for the follow,
Follow,
Haas. Welcome to the chat as well. But seriously, I saw some really disturbing takes, and it started on Monday, I believe, when there was a person that decided to tweet out what are the worst Marvel movies. And of course they had a lot of people who picked Thor 2, I think that's called The Dark World.
Yeah, Thor the Dark World, which is probably the least favorite of all the Thor movies. But it wasn't horrible. I mean,
it
wasn't like Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Or Batman and Robin. Batman Forever was okay. Batman Forever toted that line between okay and hot garbage.
Yeah. But the problem is, a lot of people have standards, and I get that. But a lot of people were picking things like Captain Marvel and Black Panther for the obvious reasons. And I'm here to tell you that Phase 5 is coming with a lot of cultural, gender, and other diversity that you're going to have to get used to. Because so many times we have gone to movies that have featured a certain demographic and their narrative, that it just pains some people that there are other groups that want to see ourselves on the live screen. One of the things I've been seeing a lot is hate for Shang-Chi and the Seven Rings. It's like, the movie isn't even out. I already feel like Marvel is kneecapping it as it is by forcing it to only be in theaters. I think you should consider that there's still a global pandemic going on and that we need to be able to see it in our own homes, and we'll pay you the money for it. Just make the option available.
Yeah, like I think there are a lot of places right now with COVID, especially with that Delta variant going on, they're taking the thing of, we're just not going to give you a choice, you're going to do this if you want to see this. And a lot of people are doing it because they do want to see the movie. They want to support their fan base. But a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could get more from people because they want to stay safe than risk, hey, I went and saw this movie now, now I have this memory of a family member got sick because we went and saw this movie.
Exactly.
You don't want that tied to your movie.
And I feel like movies like Shang-Chi already have people speaking against it because they don't see a certain demographic being elevated. And the people that it's trying to appeal to, they are in a country where most immigrant families try to assimilate. They try to shed a lot of the cultural standards that make them seem different. So to even show the amount of interest as we did when Black Panther... Welcome to the chat, Zooey. Thank you. Even when you see like the outpouring that we have for Black Panther, because we were finally seeing a movie that centered black actors and actresses, it's harder for the Asian community. I say this because I have Asian American family. The need to not draw attention is very strong with a lot of my relatives. They do not want people putting that microscope on them or that spotlight on them unneededly. And we have seen a rise in so much anti-Asian sentiment and hate crimes because of the coronavirus unfairly. So having movies like this being panned by people who haven't even seen it yet is par for the course. But then to have the studios make the decision to force people to choose whether or not we would risk it and stick to watch it, they're already trying to justify not having diverse movies. I will wait and rent it when it becomes digitally available. I will add to the digital stream. I am not going to risk my health to go to a movie theater for any movie anymore right now.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like, I don't understand what people had a problem with Black Panther. I liked seeing the cultural differences between what I normally get to see and how the people of Wakanda actually live. That was an enjoyable experience. I was like, people are getting upset because, it bashed this particular thing, and it's like,
No,
that,
I didn't.
that deserved to be bashed. Like, the whole colonizer comment. I was like, yeah, white people back then, and kind of now, too, were kind of dicks. I mean, you don't like it, change how your people operate.
But a lot of people were spreading lies about the narrative of the movie, talking about, it's there to make white people feel bad. White people weren't the focus of the movie at all.
If you're not that kind of person, you don't have to worry about it.
And the few points that were made, like how museums went into different countries and just took artifacts without permission, and how they wanted to keep separate from the world, that spoke more about attitudes in whole.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people do that. They get their own and they shield themselves. They don't think about anybody else. So it was a lot to think about self-reflection, and it was a lot to think about the world today. And I don't know anybody who really watched that movie that had any issue with the story. Now, there were technical aspects of the movie I wish they would have worked on, like that dark scene with the fighting on the Black Panther on Black Panther was too much.
Yeah, I don't think they realized that on a big theater screen. I don't see how that worked either, because I don't think I went to the theater to see that one.
I did. I took kiddo.
Was it bad?
It was bad.
Yeah. The way that screens and stuff work right now, a dark image on a black screen, like a black background, does not work well. They should have had that more
illuminated.
Illuminated, well lit, something to cause there to be a lighting effect, because it eased up a bit when their suits started like malfunctioning.
Yeah.
And you could see them a little bit better, but there was a lot of action in that got missed because you can't do a black suit on a dark cave.
Exactly.
You know.
And exactly, Aaron.
Yeah.
The problem I see a lot of people having with diversity is they are so used to heroes having a certain look, a certain narrative. It's one of the things we were talking about before the cast, our problem with the way Black Widow was done. Every other Marvel movie, with the exception of the two that have female leads, had a direct path towards that big build up to Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Black Widow was a major key character in the Avengers lineup. She deserved to have her movie back when Stark had his movies, back when they did Thor movies. Banner still hasn't gotten a decent movie either, but still. I feel like Natalie was done wrong by the way they released her movie, because if anybody's watched Endgame, of course we're not going to be thrilled to see a backstory of Natalie. And I feel like people are taking digs at it because, it sucked for this reason or that reason. For me, it sucked because it should have came 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When everybody was hyped to see, when all the seeds were thrown about her past with, what's his name, Hawkeye.
Yeah.
You know, it just bothers me that we get this movie now and they set it up, another one, to fail. Exactly.
Yeah, Zoe. And hey, Cincinnati, how's it going?
Welcome, Cincinnati.
Unfortunately, we don't.
Ads.
Yeah, sorry about the ads. We don't have any control over the ads that they show.
Yes.
I hate it when they do that too. I get it on games that I play for my tablet, where it's like, I just saw this ad, not 30 seconds ago, and now I did something to get resources, and now I got to sit through the same exact ad. Have a little bit more diversity in that.
I think once you become partner, though, you can pick ad stuff. But
yeah,
right now as affiliate, we're at Twitch.
I'm a bit away from the partner status. So
yeah.
Hulk isn't allowed to get his own movie due to licensing issues, I believe, but he is allowed to be in other people's
movies. And that's the problem with Marvel in whole. Marvel back in the day had to sell off a lot of rights, a lot of their intellectual properties, because they were hemorrhaging money. I call it the 90s comic book fall, because they were putting out so many copy covers of stuff. It devalued a lot of comic books. And a lot of people started realizing, I don't want to spend a whole bunch of money to have no value, because there's like 50 different variants of the same comic book out.
Let me try something. Everybody, we'll be right back. I'm just putting up the image. I want to try something with the camera to see if I can't get that weird effect to go away. So give me 1 second. We're still here. You can still hear us. You just can't see nothing. I'm thinking I may be getting interference off of that.
Oh.
So,
You're going to plug it directly in?
Yeah, I'm going to plug it in over here. Any one of those USB ports.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe that will. And. I'm hoping it's not going to make me do a reinstall on it. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
I mean, it's still little, but it's not as bad.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. I just wanted to fix that. I'm watching it and I'm like, that is really distracting.
But seriously, I think the problem with Marvel not buying back its intellectual properties once they got with Disney has shown its ugly head. We're seeing it with the Spider-Man debacle, that they keep getting into these negotiations, and part of me, because I used to work promotions, feels like that is just a way to drum up interest in Spider-Man, which they don't need to do. But another part of me is going, when Fox kept knowing them on X-Men stuff, Disney bought out the studio. Mm-hmm. So why haven't they been able to reach a feasible agreement or just buy back the Spider-Man franchise so that Peter Parker can remain in the MCU? None of this is making sense.
Yeah, and the whole thing, I don't know how true it is or not, but I thought when they were in negotiations with it, before they actually reached an agreement on, was it No Way Home?
Yeah.
The new one?
No Way Home.
Yeah. Before they reached an agreement on No Way Home, they said, hey, give us $10 billion and we'll let you have the characters back. Now, I don't know if the deal was just for Spider-Man or if it was for Spider-Man and everything related to Spider-Man, like Venom and...
Well, $10 billion, it should be for the whole shebang.
Well, that was cheaper than their Fox studio. Because they did, what, 70?
70.
Yeah. So I thought $10 billion for Spider-Man, that is a deal. Why don't you guys take it? And they were just like, no, we're not going to do that. And it's like, just buy it back. How much better would Venom have been? And it wasn't a bad movie. I pushed aside in my brain. I was
agree
just
to
like,
disagree.
Forget the fact that you know how Venom came to be and just watch the movie. And if you can push it out of your head, how Venom actually showed up in the comics, it's an okay movie. But it would have been so much better if they would have been able to include that aspect of his actual origins in the movie than try to figure out some way to shoehorn that in.
And the whole...
No, the deal was they wouldn't get any marketing sales, only sales from the movie.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's not... Nobody's going to agree to that.
Yeah, that's like... It's like, hey, I'll give you $1, but you got to give me $2 later.
Yeah. And the thing is, with the MCU, they have built such a good, strong, solid... Especially when it comes to movies like Spider-Man, where you have the diversity that a lot of movies featuring New York seem to lack.
Yeah.
Peter's friends, Peter's love interest is finally looking like my hometown. And I don't want to see that messed up. And what I'm liking about this whole multiverse thing, that... Thanks for subscribing,
thank you for the subscription.
What I'm liking
I'd
about...
like you to answer this question. If the sky doesn't exist and our neighbors picked 5 apples, what number of alphabet is your favorite? Also, there is an echo.
Oh, an echo. Uh-oh.
Let me see if I can fix the echo.
Okay.
Let's see. I would like to answer this question. If the sky doesn't exist and your neighbor picked 5 apples, what kind of letter is your favorite? Z.
Yes. Wouldn't it be in the mixer?
Audio input right here. Let me know if this fixes it, everybody. We can't actually hear it, so I don't hear the echo.
Okay.
That might have fixed it. I'm not 100%.
Well, one of the things I feel like people fight against when it comes to, because they had the same issues. Awesome. One of the things I feel like people had with Spider-Man in the MCU was, oh, Mary Jane can't be black, so they didn't name her Mary Jane, they called her MJ.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people push against things that don't matter because it messes with their sensibilities.
Yeah.
Most people never even took Mary Jane seriously in the comic books.
Yeah, I love the Mary Jane that they got now.
Yeah.
I the fact that she's just as smart as Peter, maybe not like techie, but like intelligent wise, she's not just that model that, hey, look at
she's
Peter's,
not just a pretty
Peter's
face.
got arm candy.
Yeah.
You know, she's actually in there with him and helping and everything. I love that.
Exactly. And it bothered me because for a while I was pairing Homeboy with Shuri.
Yeah.
I just like when I see a smart couple together. And instead, I do like the dynamic with him and MJ. And when I seen the trailer, I feel like they're still trying to keep them together. But there's a lot of stuff that's like, I don't know about that. It's giving me the vibes of that One More Day. And I'm hoping they don't go that route. Because One More Day destroyed the Spider-Man comic series for me for a while. I hated that Quesada's whole reasoning was, Spider-Man won't have a reason to fight if he has to go home to a wife and kid. And it's like, heroes need stuff to fight for.
Yeah.
And that whole jaded thought that a hero fights harder when they're single, that's bullcrap.
Yeah.
Having a family, having people you care about, makes you even more want to keep the streets safe and help other people. And I feel like Quesada was behind a lot of the bad decisions that made Marvel have to sell a lot of its intellectual properties.
Yeah, Zoe, Civil War 1 was not handled as far as the comic story goes. The movie did, I think, a lot better, but the comic I was not happy with.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a good balance between liking certain canon, but understanding that it won't translate well for the Marvel movies. I love the whole Thanos lean in the MCU. I have the entire Infinity Gauntlet comics in my short boxes in my closet. I hated the whole Thanos lean back then. I did not understand the reasoning behind Thanos. He acted like a love-struck teenager, and he was willing to throw the whole cosmos into chaos to get respect of the personification of death. Mm-hmm. I was so glad that the movies did not go that route.
Yeah.
And I actually found myself agreeing with Thanos.
Yeah, I like the fact that they made him a lot more like, yeah, I can see what this guy is saying. Like, they actually gave him a reason other than to just be out for his own self. He was like, I am doing this to help everybody.
Exactly. And the thing is, they did that with a lot of villains. Like, yeah. I understood the whole idea behind the Vulture.
Yeah.
Being a hardworking guy, even though having a dad who was a contractor too, I kind of agree with a friend of mine on Twitter, they're not the best people. And his jump to crime made sense, and I actually sympathized with him a little. Yep. But Michael Keaton's just amazing.
Yeah, he took the Vulture, which is probably the worst villain Spider-Man has. It's like the equivalent of the Condiment King for Batman. He took the Vulture and made him an actual threat
and made him cool
and likable. Like the fact that like there are people out there being like, "Oh, Spider-Man fights the Vulture," and then before Michael Keaton, they were like, "Okay, whatever." And then after Michael Keaton, yeah, I could see that fight going on.
Exactly.
He could probably take on Iron Man.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, I would like to see that fight. I would love to have seen Vulture try to take on Iron Man in his suits because he built a lot of really nice tech for himself.
Exactly. And I really feel like in the right hands of writers, anyone can do well. What I couldn't stand about Iron Man 3 was what they did to the Mandarin. Now, I love Ben Kingsley. He's one of my favorite actors, but I hated that gotcha that wasn't.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking forward to with Shang-Chi, once it's able to be watched digital, is seeing how not only do they weave the story of the Ten Rings, because I remember that growing up, but also seeing what they do in regards to the Mandarin, because he was really a feared villain.
Yeah.
And it just bothers me that they made him comic relief. Because, like I said before, discrimination is so easy to do in these movies.
And they did it more than once. They did it in the first Iron Man, too.
Yeah.
They did. You saw the little tapestry from when they captured Tony.
Yeah.
There's that 10-ring thing on there. And I was like, oh, we're going to get to see the Mandarin. And then...
Nothing.
And then they kill him. I was like, well, that sucks. I was looking forward to seeing that guy as the Mandarin.
Yeah.
And then they did it with Ben Kingsley, which I don't object to the surprise. He wasn't really the Mandarin in that. I object to the fact of...
They were trying to make it seem like the Mandarin doesn't exist.
Yeah, I object to the fact of I wanted to see Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin. That's what I was wanting to see. I wanted to see him as the bad guy.
Kind of don't want to see... There are plenty of better roles for Ben Kingsley play.
I'm just doing what the movie actually did.
Exactly.
If I could have put him in a different role, I would have.
Exactly. I just worry about Yellowface because Hollywood's gotten away with that way too much. Too many, especially back in the day, like I said... I loved Mickey Rooney growing up as a kid, but he was very indefensible in Breakfast at Tiffany's, and he's still defiant on it.
Yeah.
And that role is, I can't watch it. It is
well, that's the thing, is unless you watch the deleted scenes, and as far as I know, deleted scenes they don't consider canon because they deleted it from the movie. So it's like, if you watched it, you get to see a little tidbit of something that they didn't include. But is that going to hold up as canon, or since they cut it from the movie, is it just not considered? It's considered nothing.
And that's what Marvel really needs to stand by the seeds they lay out there for us, because they're not writing these movies for everybody. Sure, there's a lot more non-comic book people watching these movies, but you're putting them out there because the people who love these stories are out there to watch them. And we're a diverse bunch. And what was making me mad about people shitting on Captain Marvel was there were plenty of things to not like about the movie if you want to go canon wise, because they have several Captain Marvels. They have Marvel, who I remember reading as a child, who died of cancer. Messed me up as a kid. It was the first time I ever read a story that made me cry because it was done so well. And it was another one that had Thanos in it. And I actually liked that version of Thanos in it, even though they made a personification of him accepting death. Mm-hmm. And then we had the Captain...
I'd like to see Deadpool and Thanos together because I love seeing Ryan Reynolds with...
Josh Brolin. We'll probably see it.
I love that in Deadpool, too. Listen here, Thanos.
Then we had the second Captain Marvel, which was Monica Rambeau, which, if that name sounds familiar to you, is because she is going to be in Marvels, and she has developed her powers in a different way thanks to WandaVision. Mm-hmm. But she was the Captain Marvel that I grew up with. She was from New Orleans. She had all kinds of cosmic power, and it was the first time, besides Storm, seeing a woman that looked like me with powers. And I like the fact that they were put in Captain Marvel, but they were very funny. You want to get pinched on screen. Shish. It was nice seeing the nod to them in Captain Marvel, but it really chafed me that role was given to a white woman at first until I seen the story. Watching her be put down because of her gender, but not giving up. Watching her go against the grain, because a lot of societies will tell you if you just obey law and order and don't pay no mind to the dirty stuff, you'll be fine. And that's what the Creed did to her. Obey our laws, that's how we keep the order. But their laws were picking on a race that did not deserve it.
Right.
And for them to make the Skrulls sympathetic was a nice change of pace. I wasn't a Skrull fan.
Yeah, that was really a nice change, and I wasn't ready for it. I was
Me either, because we grew up with them being
bad. Bad guys. Yeah.
But to have them being hunted and persecuted for no good reason, and having her stand up to her whole government, a lot of people have to do that. It spoke to a lot of stuff that's going on constantly in our world. A lot of us see things in reality. We like having that comfort and order and stuff, but it shouldn't come at the expense of innocent people. And I love that story being put out there in Captain Marvel. My main issue was it was ham-fisted into the MCU line, and even though some people can justify her not inserting herself into the Battle of New York, if they expect me to believe that this all-powerful cosmic being is out there in space and the Earth is being attacked for an Infinity Stone and she's not stepping in at all, they really should have done the timeline a lot better, or not tried to put her in before everything else. because they're trying to say she's the reason that the Avengers Initiative started, but we wouldn't need the Avengers Initiative if you had somebody that powerful on your side from the get-go.
I think Fury still would have tried to put a team together, because what do you do if that person
You're pretty much true.
Turncoats, or if that person gets taken out, then you have no backup plan.
Yeah.
And Fury's kind of like the Batman of the Marvel Universe. He's always got a backup plan to his backup plan. Like Tony said, his secrets have secrets.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, so I don't think that wouldn't have happened, but a little bit of a special scene at the end of the credits that show, like, hey, back when Avengers first happened, him getting a text on that beeper or something, hey, I heard you guys are in trouble, do you need help? And him just going, no, it's okay, we got it, thanks for checking in on us, and sending it, would have tied up that loop, that hole.
Yeah, because she was very flippant in Endgame about the universe being big,
Yeah.
and at that point, yeah, she was solving crises due to the snap. So yeah, that kind of attitude makes sense in that relation, but there wasn't a snap back in that day.
No, and that's like I said. It would be nice to see some coverage of that, because I understand that. God, what's the guy's name? John Favreau.
Yeah, John Favreau.
John Favreau. I hope I'm saying his name right.
Favreau.
John Favreau. I get that he did the Iron Man movies, and they really didn't have a plan to go ahead and do 10 years of Marvel movies after that. It just kind of like, hey, that worked well, let's try something else. Yeah. And then they slowly started to piece it together, like, hey, we're going to do a major sprawling event with everybody.
Yeah.
But now that you have that, you can kind of go back and plug some of the holes up that people are poking into the, like, well, why doesn't this add up? Well, why doesn't that add up? You know?
Exactly.
The whole, like, when you see Iron Man in the Hulk movie and he's talking about the Avengers Initiative, but it never really went anywhere, like, that was the one time we tried to put it together and the team just didn't kind of go.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of nice to see them try to get people to work together and them just not work together. And that's why they kind of abandoned it, and then Tony just went, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing my thing, you guys do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Because you got the reference from the little Hydra people that the Avengers Initiative didn't work out the way Fury wanted it to, but they never covered what happened that made them abandon that.
Exactly. And I just feel like a lot of the animosity that movies like Captain Marvel have is misogyny. And I know some men, they like, record skip. If it ain't you, don't get defensive. But every argument that I've seen against this movie has had misogynistic leans. Oh, it wasn't fast-paced enough. That homegirl was kicking butt from almost the beginning. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you may have had like a let's take a breath moment and let everybody get caught up on what was going on, but if it was just nonstop action from point A to point B, you're going to miss the parts of her character being established, why she is dealing with this. Well, I thought it was perfectly paced.
Yeah.
I loved the flashback with her and Fury when he was a younger agent. I loved seeing Coulson again. I was really upset that they didn't bring him back for that last movie.
Yeah. And my thing is, with the way her character progressed in the comics, especially, I like, it's a nice change of pace. Because Carol Danvers went through some things, y'all. Went through some nasty things. If you've read the comics through her saga, before Rogue took her powers and put her in a coma for a while, she went through some really twisted things. The writers that wrote her did not have respect for her character.
The writers back in the day were cold-blooded. They say if they had an idea, hey, we could do this with the character, they did it to the characters.
Yeah.
They didn't retcon it later. They just left it in as hey, that happened to her, and they didn't. It's not like now where you get like the New 52, and all of a sudden we've just gone and no, the New 52 doesn't happen. We're right back to where we were.
Yeah, but even the pre-stuff, Brandon, I legitimately know that there's a storyline with Carol where she went into supposedly another dimension and had an incestuous relationship with her own son, and it was non-consensual, and they thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Marvel had a lot of issues during the 80s.
And not only was it not a good idea, when she come out of that, she looked at them and said, you guys just let this happen? And it's like, you said you were happy. I was like, none of you checked.
Yeah.
None of you bothered to go on and verify if I actually was okay with this. You just took the guy at his word.
Exactly. And there was a lot of problematic stories, especially during the 80s, but I feel like the disrespect of women was very strong in old comics, and we're veering away from that. There's absolutely no reason for a strong woman to only be there to have arm candy or romantically, and that was another thing I liked about Captain Marvel.
And Brandon, if you need to pick this up, it will be on my YouTube probably tomorrow.
Yep.
So you can always come back to my Twitch and watch it here, but I'm going to give you the link to my YouTube, and you can catch it from there as well.
Exactly. I just feel like a lot of people downplay the need for stronger female characters because they don't care. Like when Gail Simone and I talked on Twitter, not to name drop or anything, but
I would name drop. Gail Simone's freaking awesome.
One of the things she did, though, she was talking about sexism in video games, and a lot of women were sharing our disappointment with how certain video games never have female customizations. And of course, there were a lot of guys in there saying, well, I would never not play a game just because of a character's gender and stuff. I was like, you're used to being the default. Mm-hmm. And in comics, a lot of guys are used to seeing themselves as the default. Their stories, their struggles, how they don't get the girl, how they're a picked on super genius that's just a spider bite away from power. And for people like me, we gravitated towards stories like the X-Men because we were growing up in a world where we felt different. But we're humans, and we deserved our place in this world, but we had to deal with irrational hate for just existing who we are. And what I liked about what they're doing with the MCU and what I continue to like about it is they're highlighting the diversity in this world. They're no longer shying away from telling the stories that are out there, but I still feel like they're meeting pushback from people who don't want it that way, who think, oh, that's boring, I can't, it doesn't speak to me, I don't understand these cultural references, oh, they called me a colonizer, and it's like, not everything has to be for you. And not everything has to be for your gender or your gender identity, but allow diversity, because somewhere there's a little kid that's going to look at that movie, look at that big screen, and smile and say, I finally feel seen. One of the things that I loved about taking Kiddo to Black Panther when it first released was it was 2 days before his birthday, so it was the best birthday present. He stayed up throughout that whole movie, and if Action can attest, even when Kiddo likes a movie, it is very hard for him to stay awake for them. He has fallen asleep during some of the best ones. But his eyes stayed glued. He loved everything, but especially the giant rhinos.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is what I want. I want him to have those memories, because when I was his age, a lot of movies that featured all black cast was featuring black paint. We had movies like New Jack City and Higher Learning and stuff where it had a good message, but it showed our pain. Mm-hmm. This was showing us not only as superhumans, but as spies, showing the family dynamics and strong women. And strong women shouldn't scare people, because strong women raise strong men, as they said in Sparta.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, I've never watched a movie and enjoyed the weak women part of the movie. I love seeing a movie where the woman is just as capable, and a lot of times more capable.
Yeah.
Like, I never understood a lot of those horror movies where they're like, I gotta get away, and she starts fumbling and she falls down and stuff.
Drives me nuts.
I was like, where's the woman that is just going to grab the mop handle or broom handle or whatever it happens to be right there, because most of the time it's in the kitchen, so maybe even the butcher knife, and go after the thing that's attacking her?
Team cut, bitch.
That is, like, 9 times out of 10, like zombie apocalypse. We would adjust well to a zombie apocalypse. The thing that they try to do in, like, The Walking Dead and stuff is, like, those people have never heard of a zombie movie. They don't understand what's going on. They were always caught off guard. And it's like, what was it? It was, what was that movie with not Sean Penn, crap. The one...
Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
I was supposed to call him Sean Penn. I was like, no, it's not Sean Penn. I know the guy, I know who the guy is. But Shaun of the Dead showed, like, yeah, after the shock wore off, they found uses for the zombies. They gave them menial tasks, basically. And while I didn't care for the movie a lot, it was funny to watch. But it's like, a lot of people are waiting for that. So there's going to be a lot of zombie hunters just instant.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not
and there's going to be a lot of introverts who are like, this pandemic gave me plenty of reason not to leave a house. A zombie apocalypse is just going to give me more.
Yeah.
Honestly,
zombie apocalypse is actually going to give me a reason to go, hey, let's go see if so and so got bit.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to cave his head in.
But like, that's the only thing that I liked about Fear the Walking Dead. That one kid had it right. Yeah. I'm going to gather supplies and hunker down. You know?
We're all over the place.
We're all over the place, but we do want to talk about diversity in entertainment.
Yeah, we start with one topic and then we'll find ourselves on another topic.
Yeah.
So we go all over the place.
And we had different topics we were going to talk about, especially since we just got some new Funkos in too, and why Funko doesn't seem to want our money as seriously as they claim to.
Yeah, and I get that, like, maybe what they should do is start like a GoFundMe on their website, something similar to that. Like you can nominate a Funko, they review it, and they say, okay, we'll pick these 5 out of the last 20 submissions, and whatever gets funded will get made.
Yeah.
And then they can fund like the people that do it, get it like maybe a special like funders box that the Funko Pop is in, and you're guaranteed that one. If it gets funded, if not, they give you a refund. And then they go into mass production for it so they can sell it in stores and online.
Yeah.
And then that way they can know what people want and what type they want. The thing that ticks me off about the Funkos is I don't like the bobbleheads.
At all.
I get that's why some people like the bobbleheads, but every single Marvel Funko is a bobblehead. I want just the regular statue. I just want the regular just that sits there and it sits on my desk and that's it.
And for me, I like certain characters.
Oh, they are a waste of money.
they are. And once you get started, it is hard to stop.
This back here is us trying not to get involved.
Yeah.
And this isn't even half of what we have.
And it's just, I have characters that I've loved since I was a little girl, and he'll see that there's a Funko, and he gets them.
Oh, yeah. I did the same thing with the Amiibos, this and that. I tried hard not to get involved in there, but then all the Zelda ones came out, and I was like, well, this is gonna suck.
Yeah.
So, and then I did manage to curb my enthusiasm with that a little bit. I only actually bought maybe 3.
Yeah.
Because as popular as those ones were, they were really popular with everybody, so the price went way up. So I was like, I'm just gonna try really hard to get the few that I want. And then Cal got me
Zelda.
The Zelda one with the
Loftwing.
Loftwing. I almost called it an R-Wing, and I was like, do a barrel roll! Star Fox. But yeah, I didn't get as bad into the Amiibos, but I don't think Nintendo supported those as much as they should have.
Yeah.
They really were like, hey, we're going to do this fun thing with Amiibos on here, but we're not going to
support
enough. We're just going to do a shipment of every store will get 2 boxes of each, and that'll be enough. And then the secondhand market on them just skyrockets.
Yep.
And it's like, no, you guys should have like maybe made them custom order. You go online and you order them, and then the secondhand market would still be bad, but it wouldn't be that bad.
And then, like, figures like Storm for me, because I've got her Venomized figure back there, but to get my hand on a classic Storm, I'm not ready to shell out $100 for this. Oh, that feels good. Thank you, dear.
No problem.
But I got a Nubia now. I am collecting dolls of stuff that I wasn't offered as a kid. The only black doll that I had as a child was an Orange Blossom doll because she was the only black character in Strawberry Shortcake. And I know some people are like, well, why should it matter? I used to go into toy stores, wall-to-wall dolls. None of them look like me. If you don't know what that feels like, I don't know what to tell you. But it's hard to accept yourself when you have even your toys telling you that having dolls that look like you won't sell.
Yeah.
You don't know what that does to your psyche to not be able to find characters that look like you. One of the problems in comic books that they're finally starting to work on was the attitude that any dark-skinned female superheroes wouldn't sell, and that they had to lighten them up. And Storm has gone through a lot of incarnations because of that. I love Halle Berry's version of her, but I was pushing for Angela Bassett to do it.
Oh yeah.
Even before she became the Queen of Wakanda, for me, she epitomized Storm.
I don't care. She could actually do Storm tomorrow, and I would buy the movie.
Exactly.
I loved her character in Black Panther. I thought that she was a very strong, and I was like, that's Storm. That's what I wanted.
Exactly.
You know.
And that's what I just don't think people understand. I would still cast Angela Bassett.
Yeah, I would still do Angela Bassett. There is nothing wrong with that.
She is looking fabulous. I think she's in her 50s now.
What was the one X-Men movie, Age of Apocalypse? The person they got to do Young Storm, I think, would actually do okay. She seemed to have a pretty good handle on the character as a young version of Storm. She's in the background, they probably won't cast her as Storm.
Exactly.
That is true. They probably won't.
But you never know. They cast Chris Evans in several roles.
They made Johnny Storm Captain America, and it's
he's way better as Captain America.
Yeah, he's so much
way better.
I still want to see that crossover happen, though. I was like, who are you? You Steve? And I was like, no, I'm Johnny. Why would I be Steve? Back when I didn't... back before Captain America came out, I did not like that casting. I said, he is going to be horrible as Captain America. He's not Captain America. And I... Did we... Oh, no, we didn't. Okay. And I was raging against it. And at the time, we were playing DC Universe.
Yeah.
So as a joke, I went on DC Universe and I made a character called Johnny America. I made his outfit look almost exactly like Captain America's outfit. He could fly and he had firepower.
Yeah.
And I was just laughing it up like that. And then the movie came out and I was like, I got a really cool character.
Yeah.
Because I actually loves him as Captain America.
Yeah, Chris Evans has a way about him. He can pull off that I'm just the average guy.
Yeah.
And that's all Captain America was. He was an average man who became greater because he had a good heart.
Yeah.
And I like that they kept it simple like that. And I know that later on, especially nowadays, they try to complicate Captain America. Oh, he sided with the Nazis and the Skrulls and all that other crap. But the heart of Captain America was a skinny kid that just wanted to do right and wouldn't give up.
Stood up against bullies.
Yeah.
And that's basically all he's ever done is he stood up against bullies. It didn't matter who the bully was.
Yeah.
And you can see that in the Civil War movie. He's like, this is not, I don't like giving up our ability to choose where and we go and who we fight. That's tying our hands.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people agree with that.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, I'm tired of all the hate on diverse canon. Like, people are mad that there was a black Captain America. It's comic canon.
Yeah.
It's in there. And they wanted to write it to show how unfair it is to act like wearing that symbol has to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. America is a diverse country, and you've got to deal with that. But on top of that, there's a lot of WandaVision hate, which I don't understand. Yeah, it was a slow burn for me because the first, I think, 2 episodes kind of had to pull me in.
Yeah.
Especially the first episode, because as much as I like I Love Lucy and the whole 1950s feel, it was kind of slow.
Yeah.
But once you started getting into the story, my argument was they needed more episodes.
Yeah.
Because the end felt a lot. They put too much in.
Like they rushed the end a bit. Like it was like they had it planned out for maybe like twice as many episodes.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, by the way, we're only going to give you half as many.
Exactly.
And I didn't like how it started slow, and then they were like, okay, and now you're done.
Yeah.
Loki had a much better
pacing
for it. Like, as you got used to an idea, you were ready for the next idea. And that one I wanted to go a little bit longer.
Yeah, and they're getting a second season.
Yeah, and they're actually getting a second season. I'm all for a second season.
And I told Axiom this, and I've tweeted it out. Give Randall Parks his series. I want to see Agent Jimmy Woo. I want to see him solving paranormal, interdimensional, all kinds of crime, and just bringing that wholesome funniness to it.
Yeah.
We all loved Coulson when they first brought Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I kind of fell off from me after a while because Grant Ward lasted way too long for my liking. I know there are some Ward lovers. Sorry, y'all, couldn't stand him.
She really hated it. Every time you turned around, he came back. She was like, Again?
Again?
How many times did they have to kill him?
I'm so tired of it.
And it was funny because when they went to get, was it Simmons on the alien world and stuff? I was like, he's coming back. Right? They left his dead body on an alien world with an alien that takes over dead things. He's coming back.
Yeah,
no, they wouldn't do that. And then they did it, and I started laughing. I was like, well,
I'm so sick of him. I am.
That's probably the last time they'll do it.
And that is why I want to see roles like that, because we loved Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for Phil Coulson.
Yeah.
I loved Ant-Man and WandaVision for Jimmy Woo. And Jimmy Woo, when I grew up, was more of a serious secret agent, which made it cool. But I like this take on him because he is serious when he has to be, but he's not afraid to be a little dorky, too. Yeah. And it's endearing. Yeah. I think you would break if you've seen all the crazy stuff that he has seen in his job as an agent and not try to burn off steam doing Let's Learn Magic or, I've got a cover band doing Tupac music.
Yeah.
That's just Randall Park's personality, and I want to see more of it. And I know there are writers out there that could bring this man to life in a way that's both respectful to the character, but endears him more, too.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that they don't cover in the Marvel Universe, I had an idea of, and I don't know if they've actually done the idea, though, is that crew that goes around and they fix the buildings and
they have a comic for that.
Yeah, and I had an idea for a kind of character that would be in that kind of comic, where it's basically superhero cleanup. That's like when the superheroes have a battle, these people go out and they fix stuff, and it's just their story from their point of view, because you wouldn't think it would be an interesting story, but the stuff that they would have to deal with.
Well, they used it partially in No Way Home, too. That was how the Vulture's origin story started. They were the guys that cleaned up after the Battle of New York, and then Stark Industries decided to stick their nose in it, and
It was Homecoming.
Yeah. So they literally did a comic, especially after 9/11, featuring the people who clean up after big battles, because they wanted to show that, these battles have consequences. Yeah, these battles have damage, and there are actual crews that go on and clean up after that. So I've always liked that about Marvel. It feels a lot more, this could really happen if these powers existed in this world. Yeah. And it's not to knock DC, because I know they have their own versions of things too, but Marvel always felt like this could happen to me, because it's set a lot in my hometown too.
Yeah, Marvel's always had a better
balance.
What's the word? A better, a more realistic to life viewpoint on their characters.
Yeah.
DC's always been kind of like, okay, now you're fighting gods and demons and aliens from other worlds. It's always been a little bit more fantastic of a story to try to make it believable.
They didn't want to touch a lot of the human issues, and when they did, it was always weird. One of the issues that a lot of us have been talking about recently was somebody went back and picked up the issue where Lois Lane becomes a black woman for 24 hours, and how Superman didn't want to answer her when she said, "Would you love me if I stayed like this?"
Right.
And I would think that Superman loved Lois Lane no matter what she looked like, but that was how DC handled it. They didn't want to answer the question.
Yeah.
Marvel would have answered the question. Yeah. Marvel would have either had Superman say, "No, I love you no matter what," or tackled the fact that Superman is conflicted.
Right.
That's the difference for me between Marvel and DC. Marvel was never afraid to tackle issues that seem harsher. Drug issues were tackled more realistically. Racism and prejudice was handled more realistically to me. It wasn't just, ooh, this is bad. They broke it down to why it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm looking forward to seeing an MCU version of the X-Men, because I really think, especially with the cartoons, did it too.
Yeah.
They hit upon how nonsensical it was for humans to hate mutants. It was explained that everybody has a dormant gene in them. Whether or not it awakened or not didn't seem to matter.
Right.
Some people were just a Terrigen mist spritz away from being a mutant. It's just a stage of human evolution. And then on the flip side, you had people like Magneto that took it a bit too far. Right. Where if you weren't mutant, you were less than. He was, to me, a person that I could understand how he got that way because of all the hatred he's seen from fellow human beings, but I couldn't agree with his ways. And then when you had the creators say that, yeah, we based them off the template of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, it made even more sense because we had civil rights leaders, some that we backed because we agreed with what they said, but we didn't always agree with their methods.
Right.
And that is the core of why Marvel does well when it comes to telling human stories.
Did they do the series where, or was it an independent comic where they did the opposite of that, where there was a planet that everybody had powers, and they were starting to get people born without powers, and then like the opposite was happening on that planet?
I thought that was a Marvel one, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was an Inhuman story.
I didn't get a chance to read it, but I heard about it. You know, you stand around the comic shop, you start talking issues that you've read.
Trade talk, yeah.
Trade talk, and one of my buddies from the shop actually was telling me that they had a story where there was a planet where they had the opposite happening, where people with powers were getting together and the powers were canceling each other out and they were making normal humans.
Yeah.
And it was them that were being persecuted because they didn't have the abilities, and they were like, well, what do we do? Everybody's got powers around here, but then we got to watch out for these 5 people that don't have any abilities, because you had somebody like Colossus would get with someone like Kitty, and since his ability was to become indestructible and her abilities were to pass through solid objects, they would cancel each other out and they would make a normal human baby.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a neat thing to see, like, okay, even on a planet where everybody has abilities, it's just human nature. You're gonna ostracize the people that are different just because they're different.
Yeah. I think one of the best gotchas Marvel gave to Magneto was making his granddaughter a regular human.
Yeah.
And that was until the writers was like, no, we're gonna awaken her inhuman stuff by exposing her to the Terrigen Mist. And I was like, I like the fact that Magneto would have had to struggle with the thought of, can I hate all humans when somebody close to me, somebody who shares my blood, is a human?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us, not just those of us in inter-ethnic relationships, have gone through that. I joke around with Axiom, but it was a serious problem within my family. A lot of older black folks, rightly so, are not comfortable with interracial relationships. And it isn't until a grandchild happens that a lot of them soften their position on it because they don't want to bring that hate towards the child. But a lot of white families go through that too. When you bring a black person into your life and you marry them and they have to adjust to that, and then a child results from it, they have to figure out if their heart can be open to being grandparents, and a lot of them do. So I wanted to see Marvel give a realistic take to that, and I think in the hands of a good writer, eventually that little girl will be retconned and be a regular human being, because I think that will help the person that Magneto is grow. But I do like that they have those kind of storylines, and I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that dynamic. Fantasy is fantasy, but that little dose of realism that comes in it is what keeps us reading.
Yeah.
One of my favorite issues of the X-Men is God Loves, Man Kills. And it's a gut punch of a graphic novel. I think one of the starting of the novel are little kids being murdered. It is not an easy graphic novel to get through, but it's visceral because it's the reality of how insane hatred is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we're gonna start pushing for things to be diverse, we're gonna piss off people who want things not to be supposedly woke anyway. But I think we need to lean into how violent and irrational these stories are, so that we look to not being that way.
Yeah. Like Brandon said, they wouldn't get away with that today, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
People don't want to believe that we are that visceral and we are that. What's another good word for that? We're that kind of hateful people.
Yeah.
And people want to just believe the good parts about humanity, and like, oh, we don't do this because we're good people, we're evolved people, we're intelligent.
We moved past that.
We've moved past that part of our thing. No, you haven't.
No. If anything, a few months ago showed us that.
It's like the COVID stuff that's going on right now with people not wanting to wear masks. you think that if you ignore it, it's going to go away.
Yeah.
So you're just like, I'm just going to pretend like this isn't real, and I'm just going to call people that are worried about it sheep and do all this other stuff. It's like, no, ignoring the thing doesn't make the thing go away. Ignoring the thing just gets people killed.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you are, and we all have that capacity. It's,
that's true, Brandon.
yeah, we have to, first of all, you have to acknowledge, yeah, we have the capacity to do great things, but we also have the capacity to be just horrible, horrible people. And you have to acknowledge that, yeah, no matter how good you are, there's always going to be that segment that tries to be horrible, but you have to face that, acknowledge it, and then you can get rid of it.
Yep.
If you sit there and go, no, we don't have that. All we do is good things. You're never going to get rid of it because it's always going to be there chasing you.
Exactly. And what I like about stories that show, yeah, we can do amazing things. We can do superpower or no. One of the things I like about comic books is some of the best heroes have no powers either.
Mm-hmm.
They just are smart enough to analyze, strategize, and all that stuff. But what makes comic books so much fun to read is being able to put yourself in those scenarios, because they have those stories where you feel like nobody cares about you, and who cares if I'm superpowered if the world hates me, and what can I do to make things right? And then like Wolverine is one of my favorites because he's like, I don't care what other people think about me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do me.
Yeah.
I have these powers, yes. I'm a hero, yes. I'm going to do whatever I feel is right at the time.
Right.
And I've always liked people that were like that too, that straight up, I'm going to do me, but I'm going to do it in a way that helps. They call it anti-heroism. I think it's just being a hero his way.
Yeah. And I'm getting tired of people calling
Everything
anti-hero.
Yeah.
Just because you go against the status quo of what a hero does, like a hero's got a specific set guideline, and whatever is outside of that is an anti-hero. No. An anti-hero is someone doing the right thing, but they're not afraid to get their hands dirty.
Exactly.
Deadpool is a perfect example. Deadpool, like, there's a thing in the comics. He has taken jobs where he is paid to do something, and then he does it, but he doesn't take the money.
Yeah.
As like, I think that is one of the thing that's comic canon. He has done jobs to help people and protect people, but then
I have his one shot, yeah.
But he doesn't take the money for it. He did it because it was the right thing.
And he's chaotic.
And he's chaotic, and he does, like, okay, we have a drug lord over there that Cap's not going to go take care of it because he would, but it's not on U.S. soil, and Cap's just not going to go kill somebody because they're a drug lord. Deadpool's going to go kill that guy because it will help the people in the surrounding area, and he doesn't care that it violates some ethical code.
We're talking about our annoyance with the term anti-hero being thrown on everybody.
Yeah.
They use that so much during the Suicide Squad, too, and we love that movie.
Yeah.
But they weren't
anti-heroes.
because they weren't heroes.
They were bad guys.
Yeah.
They were villains that basically got put in a situation where I'm going to do this because it'll help me out in the long run.
Exactly.
And yeah, can villains have moments of heroism? Absolutely. Same way as a hero can have a moment where they're like a villain.
Yeah.
It's not a cut and dry thing. There's a great big gray area in there, but labeling everything as an anti-hero, that's not going to work.
Exactly. It diminishes the term, A. And B, I just feel like there's nothing wrong with villains being villains. The thing that interests me about the Suicide Squad, even before they became movies, were, would you take that deal to get yourself less prison time? Would you take that deal knowing that you're going to die? And a lot of these guys were nihilistic anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, whatever. So I like that aspect. What I hate is that everything's got to be hero or villain.
Yeah.
Sometimes there really are people that are just in that middle.
Yeah, look at John Wick.
Yeah.
John Wick is a perfect example. John Wick is not an anti-hero. He did not go out and take care of these guys from the first movie, second movie, and then the third movie. He didn't do that because they were bad guys and they deserved to be punished.
They
He
pulled
did
him
that
in.
because they slighted him and he wanted revenge.
Yeah.
That is not an anti-hero. That is just him out for revenge.
He truly is a spirit of vengeance. That's why I wish they would have had him instead of Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. without so much talking. Because I think Keanu Reeves could have did it.
Yeah, I think that would have been nice.
I think he could have.
I really want to see him play Revan in the Star Wars
Me
universe.
too.
You know, even though he's going to be behind that mask
And they're talking about
most of the
trying to
time.
get him into the MCU as Moon Knight or something. I don't want to see that though.
Yeah, I think there's a better character for him in the MCU than that one.
Yeah.
I thought they were doing Hyperion.
Maybe. We don't know. It's all speculation right now, especially with the multiverse coming out. He could be anybody. But I do want to see him as Revan.
Yeah, Brandon, exactly. The best villains are the heroes that are, or the best villains are the people that are like Magneto and Thanos, where like they're right in what they think, and they have that. A good example is Joker in the Dark Knight movie, where he was like, I'm going to give you guys a choice. You can blow up that boat or you can blow up this boat. I didn't see the trap he set there. I was willing to blow up the boat with the bad guys in it.
Yeah.
The guy on the boat that threw the bomb out the window, that's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
That guy was like, I'm not going to let you blow up a whole boat of civilians
people
just to save my own neck. It's like, we deserve whatever we get for what we've done.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing, though. I feel like there's a lot of gray area that a good story can cover.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they just, like you said, they get insulated in their thought that it's only this or it's only that. The world is black or the world is white. And it's like, no, there is an in-between, y'all.
Yeah.
And a good story helps elevate that in-between and makes you question things. Yeah. After watching Thanos on the MCU, I questioned whether or not if somebody snapped their hands and took away half the cosmos, would it be a bad thing? I don't like thinking on that level because it's kind of scary that it seemed rational to me.
Yeah.
But that's the way a villain should be. A good villain should have you can like or hate them, but they should make you wonder about their motivations, as far as I'm concerned. And with Magneto, he had such a tragic backstory. Imagine being a child in a concentration camp, being surrounded by death. The only thing that saved you is your powers. You have all these people telling you that you're nothing, but your powers make you exceptional. And then you go out and try to save the world that tells you your powers make you a monster. Yeah. And you just hate it for your existence. That would twist anybody that doesn't have empathy. And even if you have empathy.
Hey, Cincinnati, thanks for stopping by.
Thank
we're going to get ready to wrap up.
Yeah, we're going to get ready to have some dinner.
Thank you for the subscription. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do appreciate that. And we have decided, y'all, that the GenxCynics cast, for now, is instead of bouncing it back and forth between channels, we're going to try doing it on Axiom's cast. It's just a lot less equipment shifting and everything else. But we are definitely going to do these every Saturday, and we're going to have stuff to review. We have some anime that we're going to be watching soon. We have a lot of shows and a lot of movies coming out. And if you have a topic...
And speaking of shows, I want a second season of He-Man off Netflix,
yes.
The one that Kevin Smith did. I know there's another He-Man coming out that's going to be a little bit more geared to a younger audience, but that He-Man Revelations, I want a season 2.
Yeah. We'll try. We have to be very careful with Twitch right now and YouTube because there have been people flagging certain things. Like when we did our thing talking about the reboot of, what was that stupid? Silverhawks.
Yeah.
Somebody hit our channel with a copyright strike.
Yeah.
So as much as we want to do an actual reaction thing, we have to figure out the ins and outs of that so that people don't flag our channels.
We have to figure out what we can show, what is allowed to show, because we would like to sit down with you guys and just get everything set up, sit down, watch a series, and just react to it as it happens.
And luckily for us, we're Amazon Prime members, so we can do watch parties. So we'll look into doing one of those. But YouTube is really weird right now for us.
And that may not end up on YouTube. That may just be a
Twitch exclusive.
Thing. But we got to look into see, like, is it anything on Amazon Prime that we're able to do a watch party on, or is it only certain things? So we'll look into it though.
Yeah. But we will be putting out more content soon. I want to thank you all for tuning in. We're going to get ready to wrap this up. Thank you for enjoying our geeky talk. We will definitely be back next week with our all new GenxCynics. During the week, you know, Axiom does his live streaming. He'll be back on Mario Monday, Zelda Wednesday, and for now, Digimon or Freeform Fridays.
Yeah, it's Freeform Friday because I got to do some more work on Digimon to get some of the stuff out of there. And I don't know if I'm going to go right into the second game. I kind of want to, just to keep the story straight.
Yeah.
But I kind of like to leave Friday open for whatever I feel like playing.
Exactly. And, you know, I will be live with Dungeons and Dragons, but I don't pay attention to chat, y'all. I'm not even going to lie about that.
Yeah, we had to make a special chat command because she gets
I get into the game.
Story, and then, like, I do other things on Sunday where she's doing it. I try to mod in her chat, but I'm working on games for the rest of the week. I'm working on getting resources so that when I do get a game like Zelda and Digimon, I can just do story with you guys and not have to do level grinding. Because I know sometimes that can be a little bit of a hassle. Plus, when it comes to level grinding, I go over and above.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if a normal level grinder would grind up to level 20 for a boss that's level 10, I'm at level 30.
And for me, once Dragon's Age 4 is released, which hopefully, fingers crossed, is early next year, I will be on stream and gaming more. I will try to be a bit better with the chat with that game. But the last time I played Dragon's Age and paid attention to a chat, I nearly got into a fight with somebody over my killing a dragon. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm a very temperamental gamer. I am. They piss me off.
You're a little scary.
I'm not scary. But we're going to wrap it up.
We are going to raid Ziana, I think. I think she's live right now.
She's doing some Phasmagoria?
Phasmophobia, probably.
Yeah.
So we are going to raid her. She is a really, really good supporter to the channel. If maybe
maybe she's not live.
Get off there?
Yeah, I think she might have ended her stream.
No, there she is.
Oh, there we go. Good.
Tales of Vespera.
Oh,
so
cool.
she's actually playing a Tales of game, which those are a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so
we're big Tales of Symphonia fans.
Yeah, Tales of Symphonia was a great game, but Tales of Vespera, I got to play that yet too. So everybody, if you can, say hi when you get in there and give her a follow.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all later. Have a great night, everybody.
Yup.